for joining me for some more automotive shenanigans with my Crown Vic Gambler 500 build. We got it lifted now, so now it's on to like the main thing that this car actually needed, which was fluids. Really pretty desperately. Lifted it first because now at least when I'm under it, and if my Harbor Freight jack stand decides to give out, I'll at least be 3 inches less flat. So the big problem was transmission fluid, and that's over here. Fish that out. You know, it's at least still kind of red. Looks like it's a little empty too. And I wouldn't call it burnt. I just smelled it. If the adjective burnt comes into your automatic transmission fluid, when you smell it, you got some trouble. Get on in there, you stinker. Yep, a little low. It's kind of dark. I turned it down. The wind was getting super serious. But it is red at least, so hey. That's nice. Oh no, here we go. We got plenty. Use Mercron LV. Well, that shouldn't be a problem. That's what I bought. It does have a little bit of trouble shifting. It takes a little minute for it to go. Let's put that in a little more gently. Let's try to put it in a little more gently. In you go. In you go. Oh, there we go. Over here we've got our oil. That actually doesn't smell too bad, but I got stuff to replace it anyway. Because we're not just doing the Gambler. We probably are going to end up driving out there too. So we're going to gamble 5 hours before we even start gambling. Well, it's low. Give that one more try. I didn't notice any leaks. I think it dripped like twice. But that's not something I would really sweat about. One more try. Stuff that all the way in. Okay, so it's low, but it's not like it's dangerously low, like it's been drinking it. And that actually looks brown, like brown oil, not even burnt. But we'll do our due diligence and change that. Might as well, because it's not only going to be driven a long ways, it's probably going to be driven pretty hard that whole ways. And here's power steering fluid. I didn't get any power steering fluid because how often does that go bad? But apparently it's not good here. That's also supposed to be red, and that is black. Maybe I'll just drop a little wick of this in, see what color it turns. Yeah, it's pretty dark. That's probably our least important fluid, is the power steering fluid, because the last two Gamblers it broke and we just dealt with it. It would be nice to have though with this boat. And here is, don't worry, the car's not warm or anything. It's just the hood has been sitting in the sun and it's actually been warm today. So in here, if you look at that, that's supposed to be a bright green. Let's get our little wick, drop that in there, see what color it turns. Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know what I was thinking. This is blue. But yeah, that's supposed to be like a green, and it ain't. So that's, even though that's antifreeze, it's probably not doing us any good. It's probably just about water by now. I can't quite read this. Changed. I see an 05, and I assume it wasn't changed in 05 because this car's a 2009. But I wouldn't be surprised if it was never changed. So on we go. The transmission fluid is the biggest issue, so we're going to get on that first. But now that you've seen the state of the things, it's pretty bad, so let's get on it. So here we are under the transmission. GoPro is not on my head right now because it just hits against everything, and I know that's loud and annoying. So this is the transmission pan right here. There's no plug on it, and we gotta take it out anyway because we're replacing the filter. So all around it are 10mm bolts. So we're gonna loosen them, position our pan under it, and then leave the furthest back bolts on just a tiny bit and sort of tilt the pan forward and spill out all the junk. Clear as mud. So we're most of the way. We got the front undone. We got all the bolts out of the sides here. And we have these two hanging on by like 1 or 2 threads. And you can see the pan is already loose. So we just got to get to these back ones. Sorry if I can't show it super great, but these back ones I can't get without an end wrench. So we're going to loosen them till they're just about on there, just like the front ones, and then try to lower the whole thing. I probably won't film it because I will literally have my hands full. It's kind of a pain to get these two out here. This gasket is actually reusable, so if it stays up there, I'm happy. Let's just grab this drippy stinker out of there. It should just be in with an O-ring. Lorp. So here's our pan. Still red. Not for long though. There's some debris in there. That came from just taking it off. And a little bit of silt. So I'm going to pour this out and do a junk oil jug or something. Look, you can see the Ford logo reflecting in the side. It's kind of cool. So just got to get this drained out, get all the silt scooped out. Ta-da! All clean. Time to get it back in there. So we got that filter pressed back up in the transmission, the pan stuck on it, and all the bolts are in. You torque them to 10 foot-pounds and try to do it roughly in a star. So go deet, 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 something like that. Hoping that torque wrench is actually still accurate, but now it's trying to fill it up. The internet tells me 6 quarts, and the internet is never wrong about car stuff. So here we got, what, 1 gallon, that's 4 quarts. So we'll just pour that whole bad boy in and go from there. In you go. Whoop. This is a long hood, and I got little arms. Let's get that wiped up because it looks like it's on a injector. Don't want one of those to go bad. I don't think they're terribly expensive, but why waste the money? Let's just leave that there. He's a learner. And that's a pretty good idea of the color of red this thing is supposed to be. We're filling back up through the dipstick tube. There's going to be a lot of like residual ATF going through there. So it can be a little hard to tell where your actual levels are at. So we're going to take all the junk stuff, figure out how much junk goes in there, and then just try to fill it back up with the same amount. Here's our empty jug. Not piston, because that would destroy our readings. Wouldn't want inaccurate readings due to piss. also some that was still in the pan that we drained out, and a little bit more that was stuck in the filter, so our estimate will be a little low. In you go. Come on. Gotta free up the urinal. What, really only 3 quarts came out of that? I don't believe you. So we'll just leave it with the 4 that are in it for now. If you recall, it was a little bit low, and the difference on your dipstick between this like low and high is usually about a quart anyway, so we should be good. And now usually what you'd want to do is fire up your car and get all the fluid moved around in there so you can get a more accurate reading, because there's still a ton of the other ATF fluid, the junk stuff, or not junk I suppose, old, and that'll be in like the transmission cooler and in the torque converter and stuff like that. So you'll want to get that all moved around probably before you get on the road and start doing burnouts. Side, getting the oil pan off. That is a 17, or the oil pan drain plug. It's probably not a 17. There's a bit of slop in there. I'm sure this is the only thing in there that's Imperial, and it's Imperial for no reason other than to mess with me. Okay, let's take it out. Hopefully that's not cross-threaded. Helpfully leave a place to put your drain plug in this big old thing. And let's let it go. Ah, it's got me. My shoulder. False alarm. Alright, let's get out of here. And here is the oil filter. Oh, great. That's hand tight. Let's let this drain out, and when it's down to just a drip, we'll take this out. Get our new filter, just lube it up a wee bit with some of the oil we're going to stick in it. A little touch. There we go. Doesn't that look delicious? And remember the filter. On the last Gambler, I went and did the oil change. I'm like, wow, I am a god. I did that in like a minute flat. And then I looked on the hood and there was my oil filter I was supposed to use. Alright, that's just a steady drip. Let's grab our pan, our pan bolt. Ooh, it's got a rubber seal. That's pretty nice. Good thing too, because I'm reusing it. Yeah, in it goes. Righty tighty. Slippy. And these pan bolts don't go on very tight. I'll just do 2 fingers at the end of the wrench. There's 2 fingers at the end of the wrench. Now let's take our drain pan, shove it under where the mess is going to be with this filter. And this was hand tight. Off it comes. This seems like a weird place to put it, but I guess I've seen worse. What's it gonna do? It's just gonna drain right there. Oh look, please tell me that was designed that way. Okay, let's just get it off nice and quick. Come on, out you come. most of it's still in there. I'm sure most of it's in there just to drain on me. Stick that right there. Let it do its business and get nice and drippy and messy. We're just going to hand tighten this, so I want to be able to at least get it as hand tight as possible. And I can't help but notice looking there that this filter is a different size. I did check and it looks like that seal ring at least lines up. And I guess for reference, this is a Bosch 3410 and this is STP S36 14X1. Let's see who's the winner. Oh no. I think I'm going to be home free once I get it through here. It's a little bit of a puzzle. Okay, there it is. So even though it's different, it looks like this Bosch one works just as well. I think I'd rather have more filter and more filtration power in it. Now you better be threading on there. I could reuse the old one like a naughty boy, or I could take a little drive and go get the right one. Let's do things the right way. Hello, so we are back. Took like a 2-hour break, had some lunch, went and got some stuff, including some power steering fluid and a new filter. And strangely enough, neither filter is right. And this isn't because this was a P71, it's a cop car, and the normal Crown Vic didn't have this. They were all supposed to have the same oil filter, so says the catalog at AutoZone. So I really don't know what's going on. I did note what that filter number was, so I'll just get another one of those next time. The dirty filter is back on because I tried. But I don't care that much. So dirty filter's back on. I filled it with 5 quarts of 5W20, which is what you're supposed to. It says you're supposed to have 6, but it's showing full. When I run the car, I'm sure it'll cycle and then I'll top it off. But for now, let's leave it like that. And let's be moving on to the power steering. That's in the same area. So here we are, back under the car. Here's the oil filter. And right here is actually the power steering line. Let's just get it off there. This is the power steering return. I don't think you'll be getting the crimped line off of the input, but we need to take that off. It's going to be very messy. Come on. Going to deal with the mess. Out it comes. Gross. Ooh, and that is stinky. So we'll let that drain out as much as it can, and then we'll go behind the wheel, spin the wheel around, and we'll sort of pump the rest of the power steering fluid out. If you just skip to this part of the video, if you want to do the power steering flush, you should probably have both sides of the front off the ground. It'll make your life a lot easier as you're turning the wheel. Anyhow, I got it about as drained as I could from up there. So we're going to take a little bit of our clean power steering fluid, drop it in there, and then rinse and repeat, and it'll help us work a little bit of the gnarly stuff out. Ford says Mercron 5. Internet concurs. Which I think is technically ATF. But if I'm putting in the power steering, then it's power steering fluid. And ideally, it only needs about 3/4 of a quart. So having a full quart, that's nice. We'll just drop in a little bit. A little bit more. And this smells like not very rotten grapefruit. So if you happen to know what either of those things smell like, that might be a good gauge for you. I guess you don't have to have the car in the on position to turn the wheel, so I'll spare you the dinging. Yeah, I smelled a lot of ATF in my time. I used to take apart transfer cases a lot. I'm keeping a careful ear out for dripping. And if I don't hear dripping for a while, then I think we'll be good. Okay, now that's over the flange, and we're good to fill it up with the fresh stuff. If you're restoring a creeper, get some decent rollers. All these are doing is just drawing blue lines all over the floor. Here's our good stuff. Let's get the lamp from down there. Come here, Mr. Lamp. Lamp. And you can see there's a little gauge in the back there. There's our min, there's our max. Let's fill it up to max. You'll probably even overfill it, because when the system primes itself when we turn the car on, it'll go down a lot. Here's a little pro tip too. If you're going to be getting a Gambler, you know, a Gambler car is supposed to be $500 or less. Yeah, let's overfill it, screw it. Yeah. Listening for dripping. Yeah, so if you're going to get a Gambler and it's supposed to be a $500 car, you should take special care that you're getting a car that you don't need to put $300 worth of fluids in. So now we're going to be draining the coolant out, and there's actually a convenient little drain on the side of the radiator right there. It's plastic, so don't reef on it. Is it going to come out of there like a Kool-Aid jug? That'd be pretty strange. It'd be pretty smart though. It is. Crazy. Well, it was a good idea, but I don't think that's going to come out with the swiftness I need, so take the whole thing out. And there's probably still a pretty good seal on it because I didn't take the cap off. Let's take the cap off. And keep your ears open for a big floosh. Well, it's splattering all over my legs, but who isn't used to that at this point? Here, let's get nothing but net. That's ingenious. It's a little spigot. Take back everything I said, American cars. And let's just let it do its thing. Yeah, that's supposed to be like green. It's like literally dehydrated piss yellow. So it looks like it's all drained out. Got it plugged back up, just to be sure. Nothing worse than pissing all your fluids out just because you forgot something ridiculous like that. And here we are. We're going to fill up this here coolant reservoir. I made quite a bit of antifreeze. I'm not actually sure how much it's supposed to take, but there is a fill line right there, so we'll just keep an eye out for that. Be sure to make a huge mess. Get that white, maybe it'll be easier to see. Looks like it is. If you shake it around, you can see where it is. It's slowly making its way down through all the veins in the radiator. So it might actually take a hot minute. If you're really disgusting like I usually am, you can just put your mouth on there and just and help it along. But I'm on camera, so I don't want everyone to see how I live my life. Okay, let's let it pump all those fluids around. Maybe turn the wheel. So smooth. Let's see what our levels of stuff are. Could use some more power steering. Off. Now on this side we also have the oil. Let's see how much oil we were left with. That's right down there. Hey. Looks a little low. Could probably add that quart after all. Let's do all that on the other side. Ooh, the shorts is turning on me now. It's starting to get dusk and now it's getting a little cold, What are we looking like over here? Looks like we're still right about where we need to be. A little over full it's showing, but I think I can live with that. Come on. There it goes. And now finally, what are we looking like for coolant? Let's shake it a little bit. Looks like it dropped down pretty significantly. Let's go top her off. And then I think we'll be good for a test drive. I want to take it on up to the gas station where they got the free vacuum and get all the stuff out, because now that it's getting warm, why would I fill it so much? Now that it's getting warm, all the rats are probably going to come back and want their houses back, and so I want it to be as good and as food free as possible in there. Sorry, I was kind of at a loss of words for a second there. I was doing like two things at once. Thinking about something and talking about something. I don't know. It's a little above my pay grade. touched off the rest of the fluids, and now we're good to go. Let's go for a test run. Gonna go like 3 miles up the road, like I said, and vacuum it down. But that'll be the last of the fluids, hopefully. And if not, hey, thank you very much for watching. I hope it was informative, and if it wasn't informative, I at least hope it was entertaining. Have a good one.